Mission Mindset podcast. I'm sitting here in our studio, which is still a work in progress. So if you're watching this YouTube or Spotify, studio's changing. I'm sitting down with my co-host
What's going
Nahum.
on,
How are we
everyone?
doing, Nahum?
Doing great. Very excited for today's episode, and I'm sure everyone listening is going to enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, today's episode is definitely going to be a good one. We're sitting down with David Valdez from Grind Jiu-Jitsu, and he came through to share a little bit about his academy and also a tournament that he has coming up on October 4th. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Submission Mindset.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. So I saw your guys' Instagram, and I was like, you know what? I need to find a way to promote myself more. The grind has been it's been doing very well with our marketing and things like that, but I still feel like nobody really knows who I am. So I wanted to, take a shot at it and reach out to you guys. And we were following you guys for maybe about a month or so prior to asking. And so I was like, well, when I started thinking about maybe I should try to go on a podcast or something, you guys just came up. So,
Awesome.
Well, we're excited to have you. We really are, looking to expand our show, and we've wanted to bring some guests on. We've been doing our own thing for a while, just kind of getting used to podcasting together. And so you are really our first guest on the show. And
it's an honor right there.
man, no, it's an honor for us
Huge
because
honor for us.
you come from the Central Valley. We're both here, 7th generation jiu-jitsu, the Grind BJJ, and sharing this martial art with the world. And I know you do more than jiu-jitsu, you Muay Thai, you have a wrestling background. I'll let you share all of that. But it's really important for us with our podcast is to share a little bit with people outside of this community just how amazing Central Valley is. And we have all kinds of talent here. We have amazing businesses. And when people think California, think of SoCal, think of the Bay Area, don't really think of the Central Valley. People don't go to the Central Valley to go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
They just get gas and keep on going. But this is an amazing place. We have some incredible talent, jiu-jitsu wise, Muay Thai, all the martial arts. And we want to give you the chance to introduce yourself. Yes, you're the owner of Grind Jiu-Jitsu, martial arts. You're a first-degree black belt, Camarillo Jiu-Jitsu, but we want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and say whatever it is you want to say to our audience.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. David Valdez. I am a first-degree black belt. I got my black belt under Mark Dela Cruz, Vitruvian Martial Arts. Dan Camarillo is our affiliate. Amazing bunch of guys, and very grateful for that experience there. I did come from a wrestling background where the grind was instilled in me. So the reason for my academy's name being called the Grind was exactly from that. So my wrestling coach in high school used to talk about the grind all the time. So I always knew deep down that was going to be the name of my academy one day.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit, I graduated high school, and I've always saw the UFC, and I saw Royce Gracie, and I thought it was pretty awesome. Jiu-jitsu was pretty awesome, and I love the fact that they were back then I was pretty cocky and arrogant and stuff. So I love the fact that they were calling out different styles and arts, and like, hey, jiu-jitsu is better. So let's see, let's prove it. So they went around proving it, and I love that whole entire concept. That was everything about me. I wanted to be the best in anything that I did. Couldn't take second. So I pushed that narrative really hard. When I graduated high school, I was like, I want to wrestle. So I went to, I enrolled at Fresno City. My mom took me one day, and
Shout out to Fresno City College.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I hear you're a professor there, so that's awesome. So yeah, I wanted to wrestle, but unfortunately, during that time, I was doing jiu-jitsu as well. I was actually doing mixed martial arts at that time. I started getting a lot of issues with my eye, getting punched a lot. I guess when you're doing Muay Thai, it's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and it's like hit me and then I hit you back. So there was no real like avoiding punches, and I started noticing little flashes in the eye and things like that. So I ended up getting into a major car accident shortly after, and it just kind of just ruined the whole experience for me. So I lost my vision in my left eye, um, but it didn't deter me from wanting to continue doing any martial art. Martial arts to me means like more than just learning a combat sport. When you become a black belt in something, you should have went through the ringer as far as your character is concerned. When you first start, you're very naive, very dumb, very arrogant and cocky, like how I was. As you grow not only physically or mentally, you also grow spiritually. And I feel like a black belt should be somebody that kids and other adult students want to implement when they get older or when they, as they grow into the sport.
Man, I love that.
How I carry myself, I want people to see that and be like, that's what I want. I want to be like that one day. Bruce Lee was a huge inspiration in our lives, and I'm sure in every martial artist's lives. And he was very arrogant, very cocky when he started. But his philosophies on life and his understanding of things, and not not attaching himself to one particular style, was everything to me. Which is why when we opened the grind, I wanted a mixture of everything. So I mean, I've even done karate, Shotokan karate, and I've competed the world level and international level, and I've won all those tournaments. Um, but the whole inspiration for the grind was to grind out our goals, learn how to become better humans, so that we can affect the generations after us.
Man, I love that, and I know we were able to have a conversation prior to starting the podcast, and we have a lot in common, our backgrounds, and I'm really excited to be able to,
Mhm.
you know, ask a few questions. I'm going to let Nahum kind of get started on our
Yeah.
questions, but I'm going to jump in here. There's a lot that you said there that I would like to unpack just
Sure.
with your some of your philosophy and whatnot, because I think that your approach to martial arts is something that's special, and we need more of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely. Just kind of is especially on what you were just mentioning about how you believe a black belt should be going through the ringer. That's something that Dr. B and myself we talk about a lot, especially with all the social media being geared towards people getting promoted too fast or promoting themselves, like in our previous podcast episodes. I really admire your viewpoint on that. And I'm just a blue belt myself. I'm really early on into my jiu-jitsu journey.
Right.
And, that's something that I respect a lot, and I want to emulate that for sure. We talk about training because of the loving the grind, loving the art itself, and loving training itself instead of, doing it for belt chasing. So um, that's just great to hear
Yeah.
from your perspective. But I do want to hear your experiences as an academy owner. How it's been so far.
Yeah, man, it's been everything I could ever imagine, more than what I could imagine. I grew up thinking um, that jujitsu could not pay the bills. I grew up thinking martial arts in
Mhm.
general could not pay the bills. Um, it's my partner, my buddy. He's my best friend in the world, man. His name's Chino Esparza. Shout out to Jeremy. He's probably the greatest Muay Thai guy in this whole area. I know there's crews out here and things like that, but Chino's been doing it since 92, 93. Fought professionally, 7-0, 7 knockouts. And he's been with me since '02. So, and like I say, he's my best friend. We excuse me. We went through the ringer with trying to open up our martial arts school back in the day. We actually opened up King's Knights. It's a mixed martial arts school back in '06 in Tulare, and we had a bunch of fighters, but it was costly to us because we didn't make any money. We would try to charge $60 a month or something. But it seemed like fighters were always broke. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And our mentality business wise, we were not savvy at all. So we didn't understand what it took to build our empire. So we kind of just let it die out, and just got jobs, started working. And one day it hit me. I need to get off my butt and start reading books. And my wife is a business owner. Shout out to my wife too, man. She's amazing. She's everything. She keeps me on my toes, that's for sure. She runs her successful business, so she's always giving me advice on what I need to be doing on with mine, and telling me that I'm not doing enough all the time. It's very frustrating, but at the end of the day, I
That's
know.
great to have that inspiration, though, somebody in your family, your inner circle who has a lot of experience, and I'm sure she's probably done a lot for you in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely my inspiration for sure. I couldn't do this
Cool.
without her, definitely. But as far as like now that I have a goal, right? My whole goal is to help the kids, right?
Mm.
I don't want to get adults to feel like I don't care about them at all. It's not it at all. I mean, the generations after us that are going to help this world, right? Or at least in their community, start at the community and then work their way up. We want to instill something in them that's so powerful that when they grow up, they're going to be um, so inspiring to their own communities, right? If they decide to move, they'll instill those values and things like that that we've helped them realize in themselves. So um, that's the part that I appeal to the most. I feel that as an academy owner, that helping these kids is what helps us grow. The biggest we have the most kids in my academy. I mean, I think we're over 100 now, kids.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, 100 kids, and that's in all arts. So jujitsu,
Mhm.
Muay Thai, self defense, um, and that and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way, for sure.
I love that. I love that outlook, and I think that's some common ground that we have. 7th generation jujitsu, the whole concept really is about doing something right now, not just for yourself as an individual. Yes, we want to improve our lives, right? But how can we improve our lives so that way we help the next generations coming all the way to the 7th
Sure,
generation? And I love the idea of just like working in the community, and our youth really need help these
they
days,
do.
and we need
Yes,
good
sir.
role models and good mentors. And that's something that we have an opportunity to do as gym owners, as people who teach jujitsu. I know, Naum, you're a blue belt, but you work in the kids program, and I see how the kids look up to him.
Sure.
And we just have this special opportunity to do what we do, and we're kind of like superheroes to a lot of the kids that are around us. And we have a really beautiful opportunity, and the fact that that's your focus is just really amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, I believe in investing in kids. I believe investing in people in general. Like I think my nature as a human is to be more of a healer than I am to be anything else. So if I could if I've always known that my goal in life was to help people. I just
Mhm.
never knew really how to do it, how to put it together. And like I said, it took me to get off my butt and start um, doing those steps necessary to get to there. And that's where we're at right now.
So
That's awesome.
you had a little bit of a hiccup early on, and what was the biggest thing that you learned? And then when did you finally get the grind open? What's the start date?
So the biggest thing that I learned was uh, s- stop doing the same things over and over again.
Mm.
Hard work, just because you train really hard doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Um, you're actually you're beelining it straight to injury. You're gonna hurt yourself mentally, spiritually, or emotionally, or physically, whatever. You're gonna hurt yourself. So it's always best to step back, assess your situations, um, have a plan, and then work towards each step. When I finally started doing that, the grind opened up within a year.
Mm.
So it was November of 22, and we started in a little small building. I mean, it was probably the mat space was probably like 200 square feet, right? And I was a personal trainer at one point in my life, so I was pushing really hard to do 6-week challenges for people to help them transform their lives and things like that. The difference between what I was doing and what most other spots do is that I hold them accountable. So for 42 days or 6 weeks that they are in that program with me, I'm contacting them every morning, helping them along, make sure that they stay motivated throughout the day. Um, and we had great results, great, amazing results. And we had so many people start to come in and want to do the challenge. So, and that put us over the top. And I was using jujitsu as the form of exercise. And that it just blew up, man. It blew up. Ended up having like 25 people. And that allowed me to open up a bigger facility.
Now, was this a strategy that you kind of mapped out, or do you feel like you just kind of struck lightning in a bottle there?
So, like how I was mentioning before, it was like ever since I was in high school, I knew I wanted to open up a gym. I knew it was going to be called a Grind. But I've also been fascinated with the body, right? The anatomy, nutrition, the mind, especially. And so I kind of would think that if I wasn't really being cerebral about it, I would think that it was lightning in a bottle. But if I do sit down and really look back at it, it's like I've been planning this my whole life, right?
Nice.
And it just automatically hit me. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
this was God's timing
Yeah.
for me, and it was perfect timing. And when it happened, it all came together perfectly, and we've been booming ever since.
Man, that's
That's great to
beautiful.
hear.
That's outstanding.
And now you have several different programs in classes at your gym, right? You have jiu-jitsu, you have Muay Thai, self-defense, and you had mentioned you have a fitness training as well,
Yeah,
right?
fitness training, yes. Yep. We're a cardio fitness training, kickboxing and boxing, and then we also do personal training with weights, strength training.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing program.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your academy looks, just the
Mhm.
optics of it, and how you are able to manage all that?
So we knew that when we opened up, we wanted everybody that walked in to feel like, man, this place is inviting. Like I'm a huge proponent of Japanese culture. I love that whole entire Asian scene. I love like how you have these right here, like
Yeah.
those are so calming and things like that. So I knew that the gym had to look like that. When people walk in, it's like they look left, they look right, and they're like, wow, this place is nice, man. Looks clean.
I love it.
So
I love that style, by the way. That I
Okay,
really
me too.
like that simplistic, just like the clean lines. For whatever reason, it calms me,
Sure.
and that's kind of always been just my look. I've gone into some gyms. I'm just like sometimes just like, oh, it's kind of a little bit too busy, and
Yeah.
there's just too much going on.
Sure.
At the end of the day, that would never dissuade me. Obviously, there's more to it than that. But
Yeah.
I do love the style that you're describing.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest compliments that we do get is people say it's a very inviting gym. Like it's very inviting. So we
Yeah.
have a
I like that.
grays and whites and greens with the plants and things like that. Um, the punching bags are all white. The tie bags, they're all white.
Nice.
The racks are gray. The walls are like a lighter gray color. And then I have my big logos on the wall. So the Grind logo, Camarillo logo, and then I have our Muay Thai logo on the walls. So it's very aesthetically pleasing for sure.
Now I want to go to your gym. I'm going
Right.
to come down. I'm going to come down. Nahum and I are going to come
Yeah.
down. Maybe we'll do
Yeah.
something with you down there and
Sure.
check out your gym.
Have you teach a class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
cool. That'd be really cool.
So let's move on to the reason this all came together. So not only are you the owner of the Grind BJJ, but you created your own tournament. It's called the Grind Classic.
Yep.
You had your first tournament back in 2023, correct?
Yeah.
And then the second one was earlier this year, and now you're gonna have your third one October 4th.
Yes, sir.
So can you talk to us about the inspiration behind creating your own tournament as opposed to just having your students compete at the other local tournaments around here?
Gotcha. Yeah, a great question, man. So the inspiration for the classic is it's always been in my mind. Like I said, all these things have always been in my head for as long as I can remember. My biggest inspiration was to get the kids a place where they can um, like do what they've been learning, right? And also gain some confidence and courage because it takes a lot of courage to get out there on those mats, um, and to perform right in front of crowds and things like that.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm promoting kids that maybe can't afford to do certain, can't even do jujitsu
Hmm.
really. So the whole idea was like having some of the proceeds for this tournament help us bring kids into the grind, and we train them for free for a year.
Wow.
So during our last tournament, we were able to bless 2 kids with a full year membership at the grind. That's including gis, 2 tournaments, um, anything that they would need to do that. I mean, the only thing we can't provide is transportation,
Yeah.
so parents would still have to do that. But that was the whole entire focus of that.
Man, it's a great
Yeah.
reason to do the work, because putting together a tournament, I've never been a part of anything like that. I've seen it from the outside. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work. So maybe share with us a little bit what goes into that, and some of the behind the scenes work that you guys do putting
Yeah.
this together, because I know it's not easy.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I think the biggest part is networking.
Mm.
Um, rubbing shoulders with gentlemen like you guys, like I don't really know a lot of people. I think in my whole entire jujitsu career, I kept my mouth shut. I kind of just stayed behind the scenes, kept my
Mhm.
head down, and just trained. When I trained 4 times a week, um, and I try to train early morning as possible, so that way I wouldn't take away time from my family. So I was more of a hobbyist than I was an actual competitor, just because I still needed to support a family and do things like that. So, um, but so I kind of, like I said, I stayed relatively quiet. Not everybody really knew me, so I couldn't leave a bad taste in anybody's mouth, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now that I own my own academy, I still keep my mouth shut. I don't boast. I don't talk down on anybody. We promote heavy, and we push other academies as well to become great. Um, and now it's the network part. It's like now I got to communicate with everybody, which it seems like it's a little bit hard, but it's time consuming in the regard of like reaching out to new people and
Mhm.
telling them, "Hey, what's up? My name's David Valdez. I'm from the grind. This is what," because I have to tell my story every
Yeah.
single minute
Oh,
that
for
I'm
sure.
communicating with each person, and just showing them that I'm genuine. And this is part of the network that I needed to do to be seen. Now, finding a venue, things like that, finding partners, people that are going to help us run it, wasn't actually really hard at all. Like I said, I've been in wrestling scene for a very long time. So there's a Central Valley Tournament Pros. They put on a bunch of
Mm.
tournaments all around the valley. His name's Adrian. He's a extremely cool guy, very humble, very chill. Right away, he wanted to work with us. In his mind, he wanted to put jujitsu and wrestling together, which I thought was an amazing idea as well. So he allows me to use all his monitors, his mats, the tables, the chair. I mean,
That's
That's
everything.
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Along with the wrestling coach Z Enriquez from Mission Oak High School, he has a bunch of wrestlers that works the tables for us
Hmm.
and things like that. So man, we've just been extremely blessed with that. If I had to front the money for doing all that kind of stuff, it'd be hard.
Yeah, no, I mean, putting together a tournament just seems like a monumental task. And not only being able to put together a tournament, but you have cash prizes as
Absolutely.
well. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, because I know that cash always
Cash
sparks
is
the
king,
brain.
right?
Yeah.
For
Cash is
sure.
king. That's right.
Yep. So we push sponsorship pretty heavy as well. I think sponsorship helps out a lot. Um, it gives those companies opportunity to be seen in Tulare, at least Visalia, whoever wants to donate and sponsor. We do a lot of promotional stuff with them, and we'll put them on our social media. Um, we create a big banner with their logo, and You know, if we make T-shirts, we'll give them T-shirts. We'll give them some event tickets, and we'll have a table set up. They can put their information on it, and people can come grab it during the tournament. So we kind of do a lot to promote businesses while they help us run the classic. Now, part of that money as well goes to helping us with the absolute tournament. So the
Mm.
absolute tournament is an attachment to the actual grind classic, excuse me, where we take two divisions. It's a minus 168-pound division and a plus 168-pound division. And then much like ADCC, the winner of the absolute division goes up to a super fight that they would go up against the previous champion from one of those divisions. Where we have it set right now, we had Gunnar Gludd. He is the current champion at plus 168. He's going up against Sam Holsey from the elite team by Celia. And the winner of that one gets $1,000 cash plus the championship belt.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of critique since well, I guess since forever, but really forefront since last year, since the creation of CJI, about like athlete pay at the professional level, especially critique towards IBJJF because you have to pay so much. I think it's like the most expensive tournament,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and then like the winners don't really get anything. And then there's other tournaments that they just give out a free shirt. Some give out free rash guards like JJWL. So why did you decide to give out cash prize?
Because it brings more higher level competition to the forefront.
Mm.
And especially in the Central Valley, that's all I care about. I mean, I was born and raised in Tulare. So Tulare, Visalia, I mean, I had jobs all in Visalia my whole life. I really care about our community, and I want our community to be showcased. Owen, Sabro, all these guys that have won our absolute tournaments in previous years in this past tournament, they're from the valley. They're from our area,
Mhm.
and they beat guys from San Diego. They beat guys up from Reno that came down. And the Central Valley is it's 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 a breeding ground for really tough athletes. So I
Y-
wanted to showcase Tulare County and put them on the map as best I could. And also eventually, you have UFC BJJ out there
Mhm.
now trying to throw their name in the pot. Who knows? One day our guys could potentially make it to there.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I know that jujitsu has definitely grown over the years. You've seen it because you've been doing
Mhm.
this for 2+ decades now. And what I've always wanted to see is the Central Valley be put on the map a little bit more because we have like a great wrestling history here in the valley. We just have some amazing talent, and I don't think people quite realize that. We were talking about that earlier, and maybe you can kind of hype up Central Valley a little
Yeah.
bit and just like what we have going on here because I always tell people the valley's like the best kept secret, California, in regards to like jujitsu and martial arts and wrestling.
Sure. I think I think because we're one of the biggest providers of agriculture in the whole entire world,
Mhm.
our Central Valley is they have to deal with like so we have a lot of farming, we have a lot of dairies, things like that. And if anybody's ever tried to push a cow, you know, or a bull or something, move them around, you got to be, or even just lift bales of hay.
I milked cows when I was in high school
Okay,
as a
so
job.
you understand what it takes to be strong. Like I think just from having that, man, like it makes these kids nowadays is super strong. I have two boys on my team. They're brothers, and one's 18, one's 19, and they are like the strongest kids ever. But they're born on a ranch. They had to clean and lift hay bales all day
Mhm.
long. They had to like constantly work. And the Central Valley is a breeding ground for really really strong people. And then when you start throwing combat sports or wrestling in particular into the hat, they it's just a whole nother level of strength that they have to deal
Yeah.
with. So in our area, we are renowned as the the strongest section, I would say, in at least in the high school um, divisions. as far as wrestling is concerned. But those kids that are wrestling, they end up doing jujitsu, and then they become the strongest in this area as well. So that's what we really want to showcase.
Yeah, so we have a legacy here in the Central Valley with wrestling, and then you have a lot of guys that are transitioning over to jujitsu, and they're just smashing. They're just it's amazing. But I would have to definitely agree with you. If you live outside the Central Valley, you probably hear a lot of the stereotypes about the area. It's not always the most pleasant. In the summertime, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's a rugged place, but I totally agree. If you can survive here, right, man, you could really do something special with your life. Because there's a lot of pitfalls here too, just like anywhere else.
Sure.
But I see, just like our athletes, the hard work that people that comes from the Central Valley. I don't think people quite realize that there's some hardworking people, and you translate that to the mat in jujitsu. You just have some amazing athletes and people who are rugged. People, like you said, the strength, and some of these kids that come from the community that are hardworking. Just in general, that's all they know. They bring that to jujitsu, and they have a great coach like yourself, a good mentorship, and there's so much that could be accomplished. And I really do. I hope one day that we have somebody ADCC that comes from the valley, or somebody
Yeah, that'd
I
be
don't
great.
know, IBJJF world champion. I think that's going to happen eventually.
What's funny is that so I grew up in the 209 in Tracy, and I moved out here to go to Fresno State in 2016. Um, and one of my college professors told me that when you're from the valley, even if you move away, somehow you always end up coming back. And then if you're not from the valley and you move into Fresno, somehow you never leave. And yeah, that's what happened to me. I came over here, and I'm still here. Never left. I've been here 8 years now. And yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. The Central Valley is really great, to be honest. I love living here, and I look forward to like the expansion of the martial arts here in this area. And how can you not love it? I mean, look, we got 7th generation jiu-jitsu in Fresno, the grind jiu-jitsu in Tulare. What else do you need?
That's right. That's
Oh.
right. The grind and 7th generation. That's it. Which is, I think, I have a follow up to that. To what Nahum was saying, we had a great conversation prior to the starting the podcast, and you had mentioned something that really resonated with me about, there's room for all of us, right? And maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about that, and just like your philosophy about, hey, it doesn't matter, what gym you come from, but there's room for all of us to succeed here,
Sure.
business wise.
Absolutely. So, excuse me. When you talk about anything, business, and you run into another business that's doing the same, or at least trying to achieve the same goals. I look at it like this too. In Tulare, there's like 60,000 people in Tulare by themselves, right? I have 245 students in my gym, right? There's still, out of the 60,000. So if 10 more gyms wanted to open up in Tulare and teach jujitsu, there's plenty of people of that 60,000 that can go to your gym too. There's no reason for us to fuss and fight and see who's better and
Agreed.
I'm the greatest and you suck. And no, man, like jujitsu isn't, at least in my opinion, I treat jujitsu more like martial art, and I don't want it to feel like how it was back in the day with the Gracies, like, hey, my style is better than your style. You see that a lot in the Asian cultures with the kung fu and the karate, and you go to somebody else's dojo and you beat up their master, and then you steal all his students, kind of thing. It's not like that no more. Like room for I want everybody to grow, everybody. So,
Yeah, and I love that too, because I feel like we should all be trying to uplift one another. And when I see somebody doing well business wise, I'm I'm excited for that individual, just because it's hard to be a small business owner. It's hard to do what we do. People don't really understand unless you jump into it. And so obviously, when I see somebody doing well, I mean, I want to know, like, how did they succeed? First of all, what are they doing right? And as long as it's bringing this martial art to more people, man, it's good. And,
Yeah.
there's some gyms might be a better fit for one person. You know, it's to me, there's room for so much growth here. And whenever I hear somebody say something lame like, "Well, we have enough gyms, we don't need any more," I'm like, I think to myself, like, no way.
Yeah.
There's way more room out there, and there's so many people that don't even know jujitsu exists just
Sure.
yet. And when a jujitsu academy pops up in a new neighborhood,
Yep.
all we're doing is bringing more to the sport, bringing more to the martial art, which is kind of, I agree with you. I look at it more as a martial art than a sport. And to me, that's what we need. We need that.
Yeah. We need that change of mentality.
Yeah.
We can't. I mean, I get it. Competition is what breeds. Um, Competition breeds growth, right? And I totally get that. But keep the competition at the competitions, right?
There you
Don't
go.
keep it with business.
Yeah.
There you go. I
So
like that.
on that note, going back to your competition, so your tournament, the Grand Classic, October 4th is a third tournament. So what can competitors and the people watching, um what was up? I lost my train of thought, guys. What can we can expect this time around that's different from the first two?
So I think when you do stuff, you kind of have to get people. If you think about like training, for instance, strength training, if you always changing up the way that you do things, you're there's a benefit, and then there's not one from it. If you're always changing it up, your muscles will never grow like you want them to, right?
Right.
So sticking with something that's working in the beginning, you keep it that way for a while, and then you change it up later. I teach my students, if I was to teach you everything that I know in jujitsu, if I taught you every technique I know, we'll be done in less than a year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? In less than a year, I would have exhausted everything that I've ever learned, and I can give it to you then. And then what? We close down. It's over.
Good
So
point.
you have to kind of keep it at a pace, really slow pace, and just keep people loving it and wanting to come in. One thing I feel like separates us from most tournaments is that our attention to detail, just from the littlest tiny things, right? Keeping people off of the guardrails, right? You go to any local small tournament, it's a fight just to like peek over and try to see your son or your daughter that's competing on mat 3 when there's 100 people sitting in front of you or standing up in front of you on the guardrail. We, keeping that clear, being in a facility that's actually nice and ventilated and has AC, so you're
Yeah,
not sitting there
that's a big
sweating
one.
like crazy, right? I think that's a big plus as well. The way that we run things, like Jiu-Jitsu World League runs a really neat, clean tournament. There's a lot of like little tiny things that I notice that maybe I don't really care for as much, so I don't use those. But the things that I love the most about them is like the runners, the people that get the kids, have them hold hands, walk them to the mat. Like we
Yeah.
do all that stuff because we want all the parents in the stands, and we want the coaches to feel like their kids are being protected and they're cared for, and they're going to get to their spot where they need to get to. That way the coaches aren't like in charge of like every single kid constantly running around trying to find them and like, hey, you got to get to that. No, they're already there. We got that. So a clean, organized tournament is what you'll always get. If there's any critique, it's going to be on an internal side of things where I see that we need help with, and it's just time. Like I said, this is going to be our third tournament, so little things that we noticed from the previous two, we're still working on, and all that just takes time. But those absolute tournaments, like, okay, so another thing that separates us about the absolute is that once the actual tournament is done, we kill the lights and we have a spotlight on the middle of the mat.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
So like
like
in
that a lot.
wrestling, when you're going for first or second in a big time duel, they always shut the lights off and have a spotlight on the mat. And it's just, and you have a face off, and you
has a Vision Quest kind of. I don't know if you remember the movie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's, man. Now I grew up on that, and I I love that about wrestling too. Just if you made it to the final and the spotlight was on you.
Spotlight was on you. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. That was what I wanted to bring to jiu-jitsu, that I felt like wrestling did very, very well.
Absolutely.
I will, and no disrespect to wrestling, because obviously wrestling is my first love, but their tournaments are very unorganized,
Mm.
and it is just
True.
it's a long waiting game. You do have one match, and then by law, I guess CIF rules, you cannot go again for another half hour before your match,
Mm.
before you can go again. I don't like that. Obviously, jiu-jitsu does way better as far as like getting their kids in, getting them out. So that's what we want. We want to run a clean tournament constantly. But again, the spotlight on the athlete. We have them walk out. They give me their walkout music, and we have this big curtain that goes across the whole gym, and the spotlight's on the mat. We call them out one by one with the MC, and yeah, man, it's just like you said, spotlights on them.
Yeah,
It's a
you
great
want it to
feeling.
be a show. It's exciting,
Yeah.
and those tournaments they're fun. They're a
Mhm.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of criticism with CGI too because of some of the antics and whatnot. But I think that uh, the showcasing the athletes and in a way where you're really spotlighting them and you're letting them, kind of express themselves a little
Sure.
bit. I personally like that. Can it be a little over the top? I guess you could. And some of the things I saw with CGI, I probably wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
That's for sure.
as far as the turning it into a show, and I think, man, it feels good for the people who are supporting that athlete, the schools that put all that hard work in preparing their competitors to get out there, and then having them showcased in a way where they really get get the spot and the people get to cheer for. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to help grow the sport because when I first started doing jujitsu and going to tournaments, if you didn't know really what was going on, it's kind of boring. It could be a little boring. And I feel like now it's become more exciting and that
Yeah.
just brings more people to the sport. And once they learn um, the the activity and kind of like how things are scored or how people are, if they're doing well, they're not doing well, then that just brings people more into this subculture that I think just benefits our lives. And the population out there, I feel like here, not just in Central Valley, but all over, just not really exposed enough to jujitsu. But with tournaments like yours, I feel it's just benefiting the activity.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
And kind of piggybacking off of that and talking about like the local community itself in the Tulare County, have you received any pushback or have you received nothing but like support? How has like the local jiu-jitsu community reacted to your new tournament?
Yeah. As you guys can kind of tell, I do a lot of percentages, right? Like 100%, like
Hmm.
um it's been 100% support
That's awesome.
Outstanding.
from
Should
us.
be.
Yeah. And I think anything that you do that's genuine, it's from your heart. Yeah, you're always gonna get haters, I guess,
Hmm.
but we've been very blessed and fortunate to not have to hear that. Nobody's really said anything negative about about what we're doing. And at the end of the day, they know that it's for them. When you feel like, if I showcase you, and I mean, like every person that signs up for our absolute gets, I ask you for your photo.
Hmm.
I ask you for what song that you would want me to post on your. I don't make up my own song for you. Like I want you to do it. So it's all
Hmm.
personal. I contact every single person, and my wife will create the post that you would put on Instagram, and we collaborate with you. You get to share it with all your friends and stuff, and they get a chance to pick you or pick the other guy, kind of
Hmm.
thing. And it's very, very personal.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Anything else you want to add about the tournament?
No, our aim is just to be, again, we want to help these kids. Number one, ultimately, anybody, any sponsor out there that really wants to help out and help us fulfill our dream of helping kids and showcasing the Central Valley's talent. We want to be the best tournament in the Central Valley where people come to, and and prioritize us.
Mhm.
Recently we did have a little bit. I don't want to say adversity. Maybe it is adversity. I don't know. But we set at our last tournament. We set out our date for this one, October 4th. We say
Mhm.
it's gonna be the first weekend of October. And as we did that, we had 4 other tournaments
Yeah.
put their name in the hat, like right before ours and right after ours.
Mhm.
So it's like now we're stuck right in the middle. So as academy owners or jiu-jitsu school owners, whatever you guys want to call it, how do you prioritize seeing 5 tournaments in a row?
Yeah.
You're like, well, maybe I'll go hit this tournament and then that one, and then I won't go to these 3 because tournaments are expensive and they
They
add
are.
up. So we want to get to the point where when they see the Grind Classic, they're like, yo,
We're going to the
we're going
grind.
to that one.
Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
So I want just to get the information out now. How can people reach out to you personally, follow you, just so that way we push people who watch the Submission Mindset podcast also to your platforms?
Yeah, so you can always follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Facebook, we're at the Grind Martial Arts Academy. On Instagram, the Grind BJJ that's for my own academy, and then the Grind Classic that will follow our actual tournament.
All right. Can we share your number as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you want to reach out to David directly, number is 559-759-8024. Then is this your email, David at the grind?
Yes.
So the email address is david at thegrindclassic.com. So if you want to shoot an email, and then you can sign up still for this tournament.
Absolutely.
You can sign up.
Yep.
So how many competitors so far? Do you have a number?
I think we're around like 150 right now. The
Awesome.
last one we did was
Awesome.
250, so hopefully we can get to where we're at on the last one. But as you guys probably know, in jiu-jitsu tournaments, a lot of people don't sign up till the week of.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
All
I
the
guess,
time.
I guess it's they go through and they cycle through the page and try to see if there's somebody in their category or
Yeah.
or whatnot before they sign up. One thing I will say about that, guys, if we can kind of change that culture, I work overtime trying to find people for anybody. I will go through the depths of hell, I guess you could say, right? But I'll find somebody. I will. I'll go. We have
That's awesome.
we have a group chat with a bunch of black belts from the area
Mm.
where we are in constant communication with each other, and I'm always asking them for, hey, what's up? Like, I got a 150-pound, 55-pound blue belt in the gi, needs a match. You guys got anybody? And then they'll hit me back up privately.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, here, I'll give you guys a discount. Just sign up. Right?
Mhm.
So and then too, right here on this, if anybody wants to sign up for the Grind Classic, use code TGC20. You guys will get 20% off at checkout.
All right. Say
There
that
you
one more
go.
time. Say that one more time.
All right, discount code TGC20.
All right.
Awesome.
20% off.
And competitors can sign up in Smooth Comp, correct?
Smoothcomp.com, or you can scan the QR code on all of our flyers.
And we're going to put all that out there on our social media as well.
Mhm.
Make sure to get that information out. And Nahum, he was just low key telling you stop waiting till the last minute to sign up for your
I
tournaments.
know. I'm notorious for that. I wait last minute. I know I'm gonna do it like a month prior, right? I know I'm gonna I know I'm gonna sign up for the tournament,
Right.
but for some reason I just never sign up until the week of.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was like, let me sign up early, so now I'm committed, and I know I got to make sure to follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Everybody's got their process.
Sure. And I think that's a big reason why like Jiu-Jitsu World League and different places do early bird specials,
Mhm.
and they're just trying to get people to sign
Yeah,
up.
absolutely. So, just a little bit off topic, but kind of connected to our conversation. So, what advice do you give to say somebody who's wishing to possibly open up an academy? And we're small business owners here, and obviously sharing some of our I don't want to call them secrets, but just advice that we have, just things that we've learned. So, what would you tell people who are maybe interested in doing what you're doing?
I would say so this is directly from my experience. I mean, everybody else's experience is different, but don't overthink it. Like I'm a huge overthinker. I'll sit there.
Same.
Yeah. I'll sit there and I'll process things. One of my mentors used to say that I was the type of person that had my head in the clouds, but my feet were not on the ground, right? So I was just floating in my dreams, right? So at some point in time, you have to change the type of personality that you have, right? If you're a thinker, that's great, because thinking is thoughts becomes things, right, in your life. So think about it, but then put your dang feet on the floor and start moving towards that goal, whatever it is. And even if it's the smallest,
Love it.
little detail, who
I
cares?
love it.
That's 1% better than you were the day before. And I think eventually you'll get to the point where you've built up something. At least the foundation is starting to get set pretty good, and then you have to take a big risk. The risk is probably one of the biggest things that was hard for me. Well, I had to finally just say, all right, I'll spend all this money to get it started.
It's a scary
It's
thing.
the scariest thing.
It is
Yeah.
scary.
So
Yeah.
don't overthink. And then don't overthink, put your feet on the floor and keep moving towards the goal. When the time is right, the time will present itself to you. You won't present your time to that. And don't be afraid to take the risk.
I love
Yeah,
that.
so that's really good advice. So, we have a lot of youngsters that, get raised up in this world. Like myself, when I was a kid, I never thought about being a business owner. I never even thought that was a possibility. So, what kind of like inspiration can you give to people who maybe, like me, didn't feel like this was possible? It took me years to get to that point where I was like, hey, I can actually do this. So maybe it's something that you can say that can inspire those who maybe don't have that belief.
Yeah. So understand that life, when you're building it, has to have a foundation. So, um, that your foundation is number one. So however you decide to strengthen that foundation before you start to build is the most important part, right? We have a vision of how we want things to look, the outcome of things, but what we need to remember is, like, take a step back and worry about how can you build those relationships, get closer to God, um, learn your craft, like, to the highest level that you possibly can. Become a student. Even though I'm a first degree black belt, I still am learning, right? I'll still
Yep.
get instructionals and I'll look at different concepts, and I'll spend like $100 on a instructional, and I'm like, no, right? Let me get a different one. And I'm like, okay, that makes more sense, right? I like how this guy teaches, and it flows well. And then I can start to implement little concepts in my game too that help me evolve. So I'm constantly learning how to become great. And also, with the times, as time passes, jujitsu gets more evolved. And like we were talking earlier, these little
Yeah.
these blue belts here are like,
Not this one right
Wish,
here.
wish I was the ones you were talking about.
yeah, but some of these blue belts, man, they're like,
Oh, it's scary.
oh my gosh, they're high level purple or brown in
Yeah.
their skill. So I have to be able to adapt to that, so that way I can teach my team that they can still compete with people like that. So
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy just how jujitsu has evolved. When did you start? Do you have a year that you
I
started?
started in July of 2002.
2002. Okay,
Yeah.
so I started in August of 2003.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
2003. And to look at jujitsu from what it was then to what it is now, I mean, it was so boring compared to what these kids are doing.
Oh, yeah.
I look at these juvenile blue belts, IBJJF, and the things that they can do. It's just they roll like black belts,
Sure.
and it's crazy. It's really it's wild just what these kids' bodies can do. First of all, but just how the sport in the last 20 years has just progressed so much
Absolutely.
technique wise, and that part of it is really interesting to watch. And you're right, as a coach, I'm sure you feel this way as a mentor. You have to constantly be learning, because if you're just going to just think I know everything, forget about it,
Yeah.
man. The martial art will just pass you by.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's one of the funny arguments that my wife and I get into is, I was like, you understand that a big part of my journey of running this business successfully is me sitting down and watching videos like for hours,
Yeah.
because she has this idea of like, you got to be on the move. You got to keep going, put one foot in front of the other kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, but my game is more cerebral. I have to sit there and actually analyze and watch. And then when I do have this concept, this idea that comes from that, then I have to go implement it. And usually in my open mats, come to our open mats too, every Saturday from 10 to 12.
Awesome.
We have like 20, 30 people there. There's some wrestlers that show up all the time. And then there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys from different areas, Alliance Jiu-Jitsu, and all kinds of different places that come. It's pretty cool. But that's where I go to implement those concepts. And they're against people that I don't necessarily know. And when I'm rolling with them, that's all I'm doing. I'm just working that. And I'm creating a curriculum for the week, right? Just in open mat.
Man,
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. So just, getting into a little bit more of your style, can you kind of share with us just maybe your
Absolutely.
process and, what you're looking to impart to your athletes?
I think first and foremost, anybody that goes against somebody from the grind knows that we are wrestling heavy, top game specialists, guard passing,
Man, I
things
like
like
it.
that.
I'm going to go join the grind.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
We're
Yeah.
extremely top game heavy, extremely. We have a belief system that we can pass anybody's guard, anybody. And even if we can't, because shout out to a lot of those teams that pull guard and they're just like crazy with their legs, guard retention. That's amazing, right? It's a whole different world down there. But yeah, shout out to them, man. They're amazing. They're what make us great, and when we make them great. And, we complement each other very well, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So, excuse me. So we're wrestling based. We're top game heavy. We have two main philosophies or ideas that we want people to understand before you can do anything. Number one is we have to be able to pin anybody down on the mat, right? If I can hold positions in any position that I decide to go to, I need to be able to hold you down, right? For any given time. Number two, if I'm on my back, I need to be able to retain my guard or at least get out of bad spots, put myself in a better spot. And we're not allowed to take a breath and relax until we are in a better position, whether that be from top or from bottom. If you can get to those two understandings, then the blue belt level would become a lot easier for me to give to people. We don't just hand belts out. There is criteria. There is a curriculum that they have to follow, and they have to understand concepts. So we don't like to just teach technique only. You could teach 1,000 techniques and they won't understand the whole foundation of it.
Right.
So we're foundational type where you need to understand that.
So
I think
a lot of actual teaching. You're doing a lot of teaching.
Philosophies, anatomy, talking about like levers and fulcrums and things like that. Like just so they know exactly what they're doing. Like if somebody said, "Show them, hey, can you teach me an armbar?" Right? Well, okay, if I teach you an armbar, I'm gonna have you lay down on your back. I'm gonna put my feet over you. I'm gonna pull your arm back, and I'm gonna armbar you, right? But I guess if you're gonna teach somebody, you're not gonna teach them how to armbar. You're gonna teach them the whole entire setup to get into that armbar position. The armbar is simple; it's just a break, right?
For sure.
But getting into that position is the hard part. That's what we all strive for. That's where we're mainly unsuccessful at, is the setup to get to that submission. Right?
Yeah.
So when we work those ideas more, it helps your submission game go up.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, there's new approaches I've been, reading up on, and I'm an educator. That's my profession. Been doing that for years, and then on top of that, I teach jujitsu, and I'm always like just looking for different ways to tap into different types of personalities and whatnot. And I don't know if you've heard of the ecological approach, and that's one that's always kind of confused me a little bit. I still haven't even really. I'm trying to understand it and see how that can benefit, the way that we teach, or if there's something we can pull from that. Because I'm always interested in just like different ways. But I don't know if you're familiar with that and you have some thoughts.
I don't know if anybody teaches that around here. I know that's like
I don't know either.
I feel like the Central Valley, we're full of like hard-nosed, hardworking people. Like put your head down and go kind of thing.
Mhm.
Ecological is more of like an abstract type thing, right? You got to
Yeah.
be like an artsy type of guy, right? Those no-gi guys that they always talk about, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
colorful gis,
Yeah.
colorful rash guards and things like that. Smoke weed and do all these things, right? Like their minds are more woke, right? More opened up.
Yeah.
It's more based off games, right? Just play a game. My whole beef with that is like, yeah, but if you first start off and I take your back, right? And your game, the game for you is to accomplish this feat. How do you do that though? If I've never done this before, right? I think that's my biggest beef with that. And
Yeah. Same.
what I say, and I actually got some laughs from it, from the ecological, their actual page, Instagram. I go, so you're telling me ecological jujitsu is like playing Tekken back in the day, and we're just spamming buttons all crazy, right?
That's hilarious.
Because we don't understand what our character can do, so we just spam buttons, and then he's kicking, punching, doing all these crazy things, and I won, right? I don't think that's beneficial to jujitsu.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like the idea of, expanding the realm of teaching and bringing in new ideas. But for whatever reason, with ecological, for me to just put people in situations and for them not to understand techniques and understand concepts, I don't know. I just don't see how that's all that effective.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think kids love to play games and whatnot, but you got to give them something to work with before you do that. You can't
Yeah.
just say, "Okay, we're going to play a game." Uh, that might be fun, I guess, to the practitioner, but are they actually going to be learning? I'm not so
Yeah.
sure about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the hard part about that.
Yeah. Well, I love your style of jujitsu. I think it is a solid way to approach it. One of my criticisms, and I want to get your take on this, is there's a lot of people just straight pulling guard. And one of the things at our school we kind of laugh and we joke around about when we do uh, practice pulling guard, we kind of suck at it,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of glad that we
Yeah.
suck at it. And,
I hear you.
but I take that as a badge of honor because I do teach our students to, hey, if we need to pull guard, we'll pull guard as a strategy. If we see that, hey, this is going to work out best for us. But I don't want my students not being able to take somebody down. I want them to be able to use jujitsu on the mat strategy to go to tournaments, win,
Yeah.
but also to be able to defend themselves on the streets.
Sure.
And there has to be a little bit of, hey, I can put that person on their butt.
Mhm.
And I personally want my students to have takedowns and to be able to do well on the feet and not be afraid to stand up with someone. What do you think about just the direction of jujitsu and just the boot scooting and just the double guard pulls? Because I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you, it kind of drives me a little crazy.
So to not defend wrestling on this one, wrestling is not jujitsu, right?
Right.
What actually is jujitsu, right? And if I stood up the whole time, didn't perform any jujitsu movements at all, then I'm not doing jujitsu, right? So I'm a huge um I really want jujitsu to be promoted in first, right? Even though we stand, I feel that we shouldn't take 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get going.
Agreed.
You should establish grips and go. With butt scooting and things like that, it is pretty boring, which is why in our absolute you're not allowed to pull guard unless you put grips on people first. If
Mhm.
I can grab onto you, then I pull, I'm initiating contact right away. I'm not just sitting down and scooting forward like that. We'll stand you up. That's too boring. Get up.
Yeah.
So I hate butt scooting. So it's a fine line, right? If you get your grips and you pull guard, and the guy pulls away, and you scoot forward to get to him, that's different. As opposed to you right away sitting down, scooting in, and making it boring kind of thing. The CJI won with Cade Rotolo and in the finals with what's his name?
Oh, the kid from Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know who you're talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
That was boring, right?
Yeah. Levi.
Levi Jones, yeah.
Levi Jones, yeah.
That was pretty boring match. But I think Cade played to the crowd very well to make people start booing and things like that.
You know, Levi in his prior matches, he was smoking people
Yeah.
pretty good with that style, but yeah, the final just kind of sucked a little bit.
Yeah, but I was thinking is the final kind of was not what we expected because Cade made it that way. So yeah, Levi at sometimes when he did have grips on Cade, Cade was kicking away, just not wanting to engage. And that makes jujitsu boring too, right? So Levi was trying to do his job by at least attaching himself to Cade. Cade should sit there and do some jujitsu.
Yeah,
That's my biggest take. So even though I loved wrestling, don't stand up for 5 minutes or 10 minutes in our absolute. Don't stand up for 10.
get the
Mhm.
You know,
takedown
get the dang takedown quick.
and
You know,
go.
initiate contact and go. We want to
Yeah.
see action. We don't want to see CJI2 kind of thing where nobody
Yeah.
wanted to submit each
Yeah.
other. It was just kind of
Yeah, the first day for that event was kind of boring. Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
boring.
The female fights were good, yeah.
The ladies
the
at
girls
the ladies
always are down to
went,
scrap. Always.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess that's something I wanted to get as well because we failed to cover it earlier. Just promoting the women as
Sure.
well. We talked a little bit about that prior to the
did, yeah.
podcast. So what are
Mhm.
you doing there?
So yeah, we have played with the idea. We had at our first grind classic, it was inside my own academy. We had a women's absolute, and we actually had a pretty good showing of women. The second absolute, we didn't have any really. I mean, we had like 2 or 3 committed, and then they kind of dropped out for whatever reason, and it just didn't pan out that way. This time we're given the option to do like super fights and things like that. But man, I would absolutely love to have a all female absolute, just like because that was our original plan. Um, but yeah, so that it does seem like it's a little bit more difficult to get women.
I'm thinking of
your-
Maria. I'm thinking of Maria, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Daisy.
of Daisy. Daisy, Maria, and Mia. We have three solid young ladies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we figure out, maybe talk to those three in the future, maybe for your
Sure.
fourth event or something, because I don't know, the women are more exciting.
They are, dude.
Man.
They are.
I freaking would sometimes I watch the ladies when I go to some of the IBJJF tournaments, and man, I mean, I'm just enthralled with their matches because they move, they go for it. I don't know if it's the ego the guys have or whatever.
It
They just
is.
don't want to lose.
Yep.
But the women don't have all that. They don't have those hangups.
That's something that I
Absolutely.
noticed even in the kids class. A lot of the girls are way more aggressive.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's something you notice in your kids classes as
Absolutely.
well.
I do, and I'm not gonna rag on my students or none of that stuff, but it is very true, man. The girls, and we've always said this, me and my buddy Chino, man, from starting really early when we were teaching Muay Thai and all that stuff. It's like, man, these girls, they're all down to bang, dude.
Mhm.
They have no ego about them at all.
Yeah,
They're
that's
very
right.
coachable. Girls are very coachable. They're very mean. Like when they go at it, man, they go at it. They want to hurt each other. So it's definitely entertaining to watch, and their skill is just becoming outrageous nowadays
mhm.
too.
Really good.
Yeah, really good. Um, with the kids, these girls are fearless. I had a girl yesterday. We were at a tournament in Sanger, and we've been working a lot of wrestling. So inside ties, steering wheel control, push, pull, and then double, right? And she hit it so beautiful. I mean, it looked college like, you know. And she took the girl down, mounted her, spun armbar, tapped her out.
Wow.
Bam.
And I was like, wow, man, that was so fun. And then,
insane.
you
I
know,
love
I have boys that they're so timid and they're just tying up for so long. And eventually,
Mhm.
finally, they get the guts to go in on a takedown.
Yeah.
The girls are just
Man.
just go.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch the ladies. So if there's something that we could do, obviously, to help you out there in the
Mhm.
future,
Yeah.
getting some of our female athletes, because that's one of our goals at Seven Generation Jiu-Jitsu, is that we want to try to expose jiu-jitsu more to women. And when I first started, I remember we had like one female practitioner, and she was married to the person who owned the gym.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just hard to, I think for some women to walk in, maybe they didn't get the welcoming. I don't know what it was, but there was just hardly any females that trained. And when, I opened up 7th Generation, it took us a while to get the momentum going, but we have a lot of women who are training with us now,
Mhm.
and that's something that I just want to see more,
Yeah.
just because of the benefits that you get from jujitsu, just building confidence. And you're right; these young ladies are freaking
Yeah, they're
they're
awesome. Yeah,
savages,
they're awesome.
man. I mean, just how aggressive they are and how they just go for it. And man, it's inspiring to watch these young ladies get after it.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. I wanted to kind of, you guys had talked about a previous podcast when you were talking about belt ranks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I did watch that podcast, and um, I, I I wanted to kind of say my take on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
please.
sure,
When we had
absolutely.
talked earlier about jujitsu, I'm running jujitsu as more of a martial art, right? That's that's the reason why belts matter.
Mm.
Belts didn't start in jujitsu. Belts started in like karate and judo and things like that, right? And the brown belt, the story is on a brown belt, and I'm not sure which art it started on or where this came from really, but it was your belt is brown because it's the time that you've put in, right? You've put time in, it's been weathered and beaten up and things like that. Like,
Yep.
and when those belts got those cut, they did those colors for a specific reason, and it wasn't for technique. It wasn't just for
Mm.
technique. It's how far along in that triangle that we had talked about, the body, the mind, and soul. Like, how balanced you are as a human. Right? As you get to that black belt level, you should be able to teach and people how to be that way, right? So I know Gordon Ryan had said belts are stupid, right? They don't
Yeah.
account for like the skill of the person. Skill is one thing. Your attitude, your character, all that stuff is another. How you
Perfectly
carry
said.
yourself is another. And and um that's why I want to change that whole narrative.
Mm.
And I love Gordon Ryan. I think some of his stuff is awesome.
Well,
But
even Craig Jones said it was a marketing. Oh, it's a marketing
marketing, yeah,
strategy, and I just didn't agree with that.
yeah,
I didn't. I see that part of it maybe, but what you're saying, I think, is spot on. Is that there's more to being a black belt than having skill or just being able to beat somebody up on the mat.
sure.
If you're just not a good person and you're a black belt, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, skill is, man, I mean, because if that was the case, if it was just skill, 10 years is way too long. 8 years is way
Mm.
too long to get a black belt, right?
Yeah.
Um, so and then like Hodger Gracie, which is my goat, as they say, the kids say, the goat. Hodger Gracie, he only knows like 6 different moves, but like
That's
with
true.
different ways to set up those.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
he's like, you don't need to have
Choke from mount.
you don't need to have all this
Choke
stuff.
from the back.
Yeah. He submitted
Good
Buchecha with
armbar.
with a sliding collar choke. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. Like, you don't really have to have a whole entire encyclopedia of jujitsu to be great at
Yeah.
it. You know?
That's what I tell people. I'm like, we're on the tournament scene with him right now, and I just tell him like, look, you need to have your go-tos, and if you're trying to incorporate too much, it just gets even more confusing.
Starts unraveling
Mm.
itself
It
mid match.
exactly. So I always try to get him to go to where he's best and to stick with that. And then just to add little pieces and then little nuances to what you're good at and just learning kind of like Bernardo Faria. I really like his outlook because he's just like, hey, look, just have your 3, 4 moves that you're good at
Yeah,
and just be so good at it that nobody can stop it. But
that's
if you're
it.
just trying to learn every technique in the book, then you're trying to apply that. Well, then you're not gonna be good at anything.
Yeah, what's that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or, you'd mentioned Bruce Lee as one of your inspirations. And, he talked about, I fear the man who has practiced the kick 1,000 times, not the man who knows 1,000 kicks.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think with jujitsu, it's okay just to have a Hodger Gracie game. I want to call Hodger Gracie simple because he's like the greatest ever.
yeah,
But his game was kind of simple. It was basic looking, but yet he just understood every little nuance of every position. Obviously, you know, he didn't do the flashy, fancy moves, but what he did, man, he perfected. And to me, that's man, his jiu-jitsu is beautiful to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Man, this podcast has been so great for me. Quick message to all the like younger viewers, listeners. When you're in the room with like two OGs, like sometimes you just have to shut up and just listen to soak up all the knowledge, because you have 2 decades plus experience. You have 2 decades plus experience in both combat sports, grappling, business owners. You guys are both very eloquent and knowledgeable, and so I'm just like taken by. So I
Appreciate it.
I hope you guys get as much as I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, no, I think we've been able to share a lot today. What Nahum is really trying to say is that he's young and we're old.
No, more so just experience, experience and knowledgeable, and you guys are where I want to get to, and so I'm very like appreciative of both of you, and
Oh
and
man.
I love that I get to be here and learn from.
Yeah, David, you've shared so much with us today, here, just a lot of wisdom and just appreciate your time. We always want to give our guests a chance to just like shout outs, anybody you want to talk about, or just anything that you want to share.
Well, like we had kind of mentioned that, in the past year or so, like been becoming more spiritual. So, um, I don't like to be regarded as a certain label, but I did give my life to Jesus Christ, and I feel like He's guided me through everything that I've been going through, and I just see like the vision is more clear now.
Oh man, I
I feel
love
like
it.
I'm getting more of an abundance of love and support from every angle because of it. So I don't think I don't think it's too cliche to talk about, be open about your spirituality, but I do think that's the guiding factor in this whole entire process. And
Well, we need more love and
Mhm.
we need more support. And that's kind of what we want to do with our podcast is support each other. We don't
Sure.
have enough of that. And the work that you do in the community, for me, as somebody do see myself as a community person, it does inspire me and it just reinforces, I guess some of my beliefs. And it's just great to be able to speak with like-minded individuals who are really out there, man, in the
Yeah.
trenches. And that's something I have a lot of respect for you. And I know that you have um, a lot that you want to do. And so can you share, are you okay with sharing some of like the future of what you would like to do, just serving the community?
Yeah. So I want to be an exclusive member to my community. So in any facet, any form. I want to own a mega gym one day where we do it all.
Love it.
Therapy, the saunas and all that stuff. I want an actual physical gym there. I want to, you know, I want to be able to bless our community with anything that they need. And not only that, maybe eventually one day, and this is just coming out randomly. I wouldn't even mind being like a councilman for my city or something, and
Oh
eventually
man.
moving up to something of that nature that can guide the future um, kids or children growing up in our area. I do want to say that Tulare has always been a place where there's not much for kids to do, and if I could be that light to bring something to that city
Mhm.
that would be more specific towards kids, I would love to do that for sure.
Well, like I said, we are just really, happy to have a chance to talk with you and, the journey that you've been on. You've accomplished a lot and, we want you to succeed, with all the goals that you're pursuing. If there's any way that the Submission Mindset
Mhm.
podcast could help out with that in the future, just let us know things that you want to promote out in Tulare because I think we share a lot of the same missions. I don't know. Would
Mhm.
you agree?
Yeah, definitely,
No, but
100%.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like we had mentioned off camera, like I would love to have you guys there. I think it would be a pretty amazing to have like a podcast going on at the same time. You guys can like comment commentate on maybe on the absolute or like just help each other get to where we want to get to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, the goal with the podcast, just to let our listeners and our viewers know too, is like, we would want to expand it. And, we both love the sport, but we love business and we love community, right? Love
Right.
helping people. And for me, that's just kind of what I've dedicated my whole professional life to. And then with jujitsu, it has to be about people, it has to be about community. Anything else, like, I'm just not all that inspired by. Obviously, yes, we want to make money, we want to support our families, we want to do all of that, but it has to be in a way that is bringing something to the social fabric, improving people's lives. At least for me, and I know that
Hmm.
Nahum, those are the things that really motivate us. And so the fact that I know so much more about your gym and your philosophy
Hmm.
and also your tournament and the reasons behind it, just going to makes me want to support this even more. So we're going to
Appreciate
really
that.
we're going to
Yeah.
push this out there. And if you're listening to this, please follow David, his gym, Grind BJJ. Nahum, should go and share
Yeah.
your social
Yeah.
media
Also
handles as
follow
well.
us on social media, the Submission Mindset. Also my personal Instagram, STC_Nahum, spelled Nahum, and TikTok STC Nahum.
Yeah, and then seventh gen BJJ. That's our handle on Instagram. Definitely give us a follow. Any questions that you have for David, reach out to him directly and shoot those questions over. Obviously, the submission mindset, we're open. Our DMs are open. If you have any suggestions for topics, we're
Hmm.
more than willing to listen. I don't know. Maybe just like you got 5 minutes for some random questions.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
So you got a random guys got something
All right,
random.
something random, man. Well, no, like let me think. You go first. I wasn't
Okay,
ready. I
so
wasn't prepared for this.
okay, so something, we are talking about your favorite, or maybe not your favorite submission, but you were said that you had the the best head and arm triangle.
I will plan for that right after
Okay.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so what advice or a little bit of whatever that you can impart wisdom about that head and arm triangle? Because I know a lot of people love that technique.
A lot of people do use it more for like a strength or more of like a squeeze. I try to eliminate as much space as possible so that when I do establish a grip or connection with my hands, that it's already as tight as it possibly can get. And then I use movement instead of just a squeeze to get to submission. So yeah.
Cool. I love
I like
that.
it.
I have my question now. So prior to starting your own academy, you were a personal trainer.
Mhm.
There's a lot of controversy whether you need strength and conditioning for jiu-jitsu. I know like people like Gordon Ryan are for it, and especially with isometric strength. However, people like Mikey Musumeci, he says that he doesn't work out like at a gym, and he's like shredded just off of just training jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
With your background in both, what are your thoughts on that?
So both of those guys are genetic freaks, right? So
That's right.
the ability to eat pasta so much and look that shredded and
Mm-hmm.
all the striations in the muscles and things like that. That's a lot of genetics. It is a lot of hard work, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of genetic factors that are the reason why his body looks the way that it does. Gordon
Yep.
Ryan as well, genetic freak, right? Like um now Gordon uses a lot of weights, right? And he does a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bodybuilding exercises and he's I think he's been on he said that in one interview or whatever, but and Musumeci does not. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't think it's you can put like if you guys can show me one exercise that you can do in a gym that you can do on a mat, right? That will correlate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which one would it be? Right? The body is not fixed. It's not a fixed uh, it's not like a barbell, right?
Yeah.
So if I do bench press, for instance, if I'm in caught in side control, I'm not going to be bench
Mm-hmm.
pressing my opponent off of me, right? That's not what I'm using. I'm using frames, right? And I'm using wedges, and I'm doing all these different things to try to create space for my opponent. I'm not necessarily just using my pecs to do so. Um, so it's not similar. It's not the same. Joe Soto, good dude from Porterville. He used to fight in the UFC. He did not strength train at all. And excuse me, he went into EBI. He beat Meow, one of the Meow brothers, and he beat oh gosh, what's his name? He was ranked number one in the world at the time. 10th Planet Freaks. Gio Martinez.
Yeah,
He beat
Geos.
he beat Martinez, and then he beat Meow, and then in the finals he lost to Eddie Cummings. But he did all this stuff with no strength training at all, right? So the
Yeah.
body is super unstable when it's on top. We can constantly turn our shoulders, use our hips, things like that. So it's never a fixed position.
Mhm.
So to say that a bench press correlates perfectly over to jiu-jitsu is just false, right?
Yep.
If you do power cleans, right, to lift weight from the ground up, deadlifts, all that stuff, it doesn't apply because you're in a fixed, stable position. You're only working in one plane of motion. So jiu-jitsu, you're working in all three planes of motion simultaneously.
Mhm.
So the best way I feel to, if you're going to use a little bit of resistance training, is to do athletic style training, where there's a lot of emphasis on plyometrics, a lot of jumping laterally, a lot of twisting, things like that. Hardcore weights, no. So that's my
Yeah.
take on that.
That's
Sick.
awesome. That's really great advice there. And everybody's different too. Some people, maybe they're going to benefit a little bit more from whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
I always feel like genetics does play a big role, because I look at a bowl of pasta and bread, I gain weight. I don't have to eat it. I just look at it and
I
I
agree.
gain another 5 pounds.
Sure. Yeah.
So, you got anything else here?
No, just I want to say I'm grateful. I want to say thank you for helping us set this up.
Sure.
Everyone, if you guys are free October 4th, make sure you guys show up. It's gonna be a great event. You might see us out there as well, so it's gonna
Yep.
be even better.
Yeah.
that's right.
So we'll talk about the submission mindset pulling up on October 4th. I'm going to give the address here, because I think the address is on here. So
It's 3442 East Bardsley Avenue in Tulare.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Mission Oak
Mission
High
Oak High
School.
School. Yes,
Mission
sir.
Oak High School. And this is October 4th, coming up in a couple of weeks. Excited to see the outcome, and super thankful to have you on the show, the Submission
thanks.
Mindset Podcast. We're going to throw our outro music on here. Go ahead, Nahum.
Yeah. Are there still spots for your
Yes.
tournament in terms of like all the cash prizes?
Yep. There's still, we have, well, I mean, it's pretty much unlimited. So if I could get 10 people
Yeah.
in each category, I'd love that. That way we get some real competition going. So yeah, it's still open, guys. If you guys want to do that, it's the entry to the absolute is $90, and that gives you the chance to win $500. If you win that tournament, you move on for the $1,000 plus the championship.
Let's go. If you're
opportunity.
listening to
There you
this,
go.
come on, let's sign up. Let's fill out these brackets. The more fights, the better. And this is supporting our local community here in the Central Valley, showcasing all this talent that we have here, from all the way from Sacramento all the way down to Bakersfield, man. Central Valley's just got some amazing athletes. And at this tournament here, the Grind Classic, we're going to have that on display, it looks like. So, yeah, excited. And this is the end. Our episode here, Submission Mindset Podcast. Dr. B, my man Nahum, our guest David. Appreciate you again, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all.
Till the next one, y'all.
Stay rolling.
Stay rolling. Submission Mindset Podcast. We're out of here.